scanned my entry point and crouched again, then brushed past another dying hedge. I rounded the corner near the dumpster, and the pack came into view. I slid next to the giant green monstrosity and plugged my nose with my fingertips. Foul. Very foul. I stood and waved a hand in the air, hoping to hell Joel wasn't currently getting swarmed. Then I stopped. What use was it? He wasn't about to announce his hiding place. "You ugly godless fucks come here often?" I lowered the wrench, letting all 8.4 pounds of the weapon become an extension of my arm. The creeper that had fixed his milky gaze on me earlier turned his head on his creaking neck and drew back desiccated lips over rotted teeth. The others swiveled to take me in. A chill raced over my body at the thought of one of those assholes sinking their teeth into me. One shot and the creeper's head popped to the side, followed by his body. Brain matter splattered and blood sprayed. 2 Z's moved toward the noise, leaving 3 for me. Terrific. "Hey, assholes," called Joel. I risked a glance at my watch. The action had already occupied 5 seconds of the 30 we allotted any battle. If we couldn't wrap things up in that time frame, we'd bug out. I swung the wrench up and took the nearest right under the chin. I hit him so hard I thought his head was going to come off. Poor kid. Couldn't have been more than 15 when he turned. Dressed in shorts and a gaudy t-shirt, he wore only one knee pad. He did have pads on both elbows, though. Probably some skate punk that was now a dead punk. The second Z closed in. I gave ground, lifted my size 14 U.S. Navy-issued boot, and kicked him in the groin. That didn't put him down, but it bought me a moment. As far as I knew, they didn't have functioning nads, but a swift kick could still put them in their place. Another pair of shots, but I had things to worry about other than Joel's body count. I didn't have time to beat these things to death, so I drew the M45 with my left hand, aimed just as I'd practiced 100 times over the last couple of weeks, and shot one through the neck. It sounds cool, but I was actually aiming for its forehead. I'd lowered the gun just a fraction at the last second. The Z fell away, gurgling blood from its neck. I aimed and fired at the shuffler, but it was already on the move. It had been caressing the ground on all fours, doing that shuffle step that freaks me the fuck out. The man had long wisps of hair hanging from his scalp, and somehow a pair of glasses perched on the remains of his face. His mouth was full of blood, drool, and something that looked a lot like human flesh. I fired again. The bullet punched through his gut just before he smashed into me. I hit the dumpster hard enough to knock my breath out and staggered to the side. He fell away, but was on his feet in a flash. His eyes had the same milky white look, but they somehow fixed on me. He howled a wordless scream of fury and launched himself. I swung the pipe, but there wasn't a lot of strength behind it. The glancing blow barely kept him from biting my arm. I staggered back again, and bullets whizzed through the air, taking the creepers out with extreme prejudice. I fired again, but the shot went wide because I'd panicked. The shuffler didn't cower, it didn't hide, and it didn't turn and run. It was completely unreasonable, and its only desire was to rip into my flesh. I gave ground, fighting for breath, and when he attacked again, I punched him. I didn't get a lot behind the strike, but it was enough to knock the Z down. I lifted the gun, took a half breath, and blew his fucking brains all over the pavement. Joel moved in on my position, Ray-Bans looking everywhere as he ran. He had the assault rifle across his chest, finger on the trigger guard. We didn't stop to admire our handiwork. Instead, we moved out at a fast clip, because we were well over our 30 seconds, and that was bad news. Another half minute, and we'd be overrun.